Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Track 5 Nurses Championing Quality. I'm extremely happy that in this track we are going to showcase the finalist quality improvement projects, which are nurse led quality improvement projects from 3 different hospitals. So I'm not going to talk about them. I am here just to welcome the jury members of the track, and it gives me great honor to welcome Dr. Aarti Verma, Senior Vice President, Medical Quality, Max Healthcare, New Delhi. I have known her for a very long time, and she did not take much time to say yes to me when I gave her very short notice. Ma'am, can you come and join in the jury? So thank you so much for being here, Dr. Aarti.
Thank you, and it's an absolute pleasure to see nurses, taking charge of systems and not just their individual one-on-one patient care. It's this taking up a quality improvement project involves an attitude to identify problems, to have a problem-solving, go-getter attitude, and to stimulate the critical thinking process in our minds. And of course, the impact of improvement is always very, very profound. So much appreciate these efforts by the nursing community.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aarti. The next person I would love to introduce is very proud of her. That is Miss Lavina Lal. She's Head Quality Patient Safety Manager, General Administration, Fortis Hospital, Mulund. And I'm very proud to say that she's a nurse. And it makes me extremely happy to showcase our nursing champions in different cadres of hospital administration. So, Lavina, thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
A pleasure, ma'am. Very good afternoon to all of you. I think this is a fantastic move by Annie. We'd like to appreciate them because bringing nurses and quality to the forefront is the new era. I think this is the new vision that we should be looking forward to. And I'm excited to look forward to these projects that have been done by nurses. And me being one, feel so proud just to be sitting here and partaking in this journey. Wish everybody all the best.
Thank you. The remaining 3 jury members are our own Annie executive committee members, and we are very happy that they have spared their time to do a couple of rounds of reviews, because we got altogether some 12 projects, I think. So warm welcome, Dr. Lata Venkateshan, founder, EC member of our own Association of Nurse Executives India.
Thank you so much. Quality comes not only from inspection, but improving the process. So Annie has encouraged the improvement process. It is just bringing changes in the way what we do. And Annie always believes raising young leaders, because what we are contributing the profession is important, but what we raise for the profession is also important. In that context, Annie has taken the initiative to give opportunity for the young leaders to showcase their improvement projects. And the projects are very interesting, and keep waiting to listen to the speakers of the quality improvement project. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Lata. And now gives me great pleasure to welcome Dr. Unmuna Burgain. She is the president for Northeast chapter of our Annie. So thank you, Dr. Unmuna, and welcome to this, and wishing all of you to do the tough job of judging who is going to be our winner, first runner and second runner. Dr. Unmuna?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So I am very happy today to speak 3 points. Number 1, ANICON 2021, it is a great move. I think nation move, the nursing moves forward and leading the nation. I'm very sure that is number 1. Number 2, this is the one of the best virtual program I have seen, and many of my friends and colleagues are sharing their experiences. It is the best. That is none other than, that is, I must say, Madam Gomez is there behind the screen. The third thing, what is this most encouraging one? Quality improvement projects. And nurses are working hard day and night, and particularly this time too, we cannot express in the words. So when we are working something, at the end, if we see these are the changes I have made, and probably I'll forget how much I earned, how much I sweat, how many times I sat down during my exertion time. But however, when we'll see the progress, the changes we could bring to the hospital, that is brilliant. And that will be the very, very inspiring and encouraging to the young nurses. Thank you, ma'am, for including this QIP track in this session. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Unmuna. And the last but not the least is one of our very dynamic chapter head, Miss Vincy Tribhuwan. She is heading the Maharashtra chapter, very active, one of our very active chapters. Vincy, a very warm welcome to this jury role.
Good afternoon, ma'am, and good afternoon, everyone. So Annie has been a very, very exciting journey, and the last 2 days have been, roller coaster rocking. And I think all credit goes to our boss lady, Angam Gomez, and all the organizing committee members. So coming to this event, particularly QIP, I think continuous quality improvement is very critical for any organization, especially nursing. And quality improvement projects are a major part of continuous improvement. So I'm very glad and looking forward to an exciting presentation from all 3 finalists. Let us go.
Yes, thank you so much, all the jury members. And now I will say bye to everyone, and let's go and listen to the young presenters of the 3 finalist quality improvement projects.
Okay, now we are going to have a very exciting track of Nurse Championing Quality, where we are honored to showcase the top 3 finalists of all the quality improvement projects that we will receive from various hospitals amidst of Corona crisis. There were about 12 projects, out of which 3 were shortlisted. Now, I will have a great honor to introduce our jury member to all of you. We have Dr. Aarti Verma, Senior VP, Medical Quality, Max Healthcare, New Delhi. Ms. Lavina Lal, Head Quality and Patient Safety, Head Patient Experience, Manager General Administration, Fortis Hospital, Mulund. Dr. Lata Venkatesan, Founder EC Member Annie. Dr. Unmona Bargoen, Founder EC Member Annie. Ms. Vincy Tribhuwan, EC Member. We welcome you all in this session, ma'am. Now, let me call upon our first shortlisted hospital, that is Gleneagles Hospital, Chennai. So, I will invite Ms. Deepika Selvakumar, Nurse Educator from Gleneagles Hospital, to present the project.
Good afternoon to all the juries in the panel. This is Deepika from Gleneagles Global Health City. It's indeed honor and privilege to be here. I would like to thank Association of Nurse Executives India for giving me this opportunity to present a QIP which was done across 6 hospitals of IHH Healthcare India on the topic Best Catches, a strategic approach towards building an error prevention culture. Our project aim was medication without harm. Even the WHO also quoted that medication without harm is the 3rd global patient safety challenge. Administering drug is one of the primary nursing acts in hospital wards, and medication errors are one of the worst errors among nurses, leading to unpleasant results for the patients. The WHO came out with the estimation that nearly 138 million patients witnesses harm caused by medical errors every year in medium and low socioeconomic status countries, including India. Medication errors contribute to 5.2 million of all medical errors that occur annually in India. This may lead to death or disability if it reaches the patients. These errors also have an adverse effect of increasing the physical and psychological stress and decreasing patient satisfaction and trust on the healthcare team. Globally, the cost associated with these medication errors has been estimated at $42 billion annually. Thus, this QIP aimed to identify ways to prevent medication errors. This is our pre-intervention data. Across 6 hospitals in India, we had 1815 medication errors from Q3, Q4 of 2019, which includes prescription, dispensing, transcription and administration errors. out of which 83 were administration errors, which holds the nurses accountable. To prevent these medication errors, we took an initiative of this QIP to evaluate the effectiveness of Best Catch as an empowerment strategy towards execution of prevention of medication errors. Our sample size was 281,577 prescriptions across 6 hospitals in India. This is the QIP model which we followed PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, act cycle. While using this PDCA cycle, we can able to achieve the desired outcomes by following these Best Catch strategies. Concept orientation on positive approach towards error prevention and error self-reporting by introducing see what went right rather than what went wrong through Best Catches. Implementation of nursing empowerment module, daily update of new drugs during handover, drug learning during handover, including food and drug interactions, various forms of appreciations like verbal and written appreciation, and photos with appreciation, who reports errors and who prevents errors. Presentation of Best Catches during NCM and role modeling technique, cancellation and reprivileging of medication administration. We used various assessment methods like medication audit tool, nurse satisfaction questionnaire, and nurse empowerment questionnaire to analyze the effectiveness of this project. Best Catches, showcasing what went right rather than what went wrong. This is how we showcase our RN through these Best Catches. This is our post-intervention status. The medication error and administration error for quarter 3 was 879 and 836, and for quarter 4 was 936 and 47 in 2019, which was reduced to 541 and 54 in quarter 1 and 537 and 23 in quarter 2 2020 after implementation of Best Catches. It showed a drastic decline in the medication errors, which showed the effectiveness of this project. As the module began, the capturing rate across units increased, that you can visualize in this figure 54 in quarter 1 2020, and then it was reduced to 23 in quarter 2 2020. This is the percentage distribution of overall satisfaction of nurses. Among 1089 nurses after implementation of Best Catches, the overall satisfaction rate was increased from 82 to 84%. And this is the percentage distribution of overall empowerment level of nurses. Among 1089 nurses, majority of the nurses felt highly empowered, which was about 80.44%. And this is the sustenance plan and way forward. When Best Catches were introduced, the error capturing were widened and the medication errors also reduced. The satisfaction of nurses also increased, and majority of the nurses felt highly empowered after undergoing this Best Catch empowerment module. This project helped our nurses in various ways like patient engagement, management by objective, being empowered and being resilient, to have an updated knowledge and to be competent in administration of medications. Our sustenance plan includes implementation of empowerment module in nursing induction program, creation of wall of fame for bedside nurses, ongoing leadership support, recurrent audit every 90 days according to sustenance plan. As this project has enabled the nurses to practice error prevention culture, we can use this strategy to increase the nurses' empowerment in identifying and prevention of errors and a token of appreciation. I would like to conclude my presentation with a quote of a great leader. An ounce of proactive and predictive role of a nurse is worth a pound of care and safety. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deepika, and thank you, Gleneagles Hospital. Now, second hospital is Indraprastha Apollo Hospital, New Delhi. So I will invite Ms. Nishu Arora, Senior Executive Quality Assurance Officer from Indraprastha Apollo Hospital, to present the project.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Before starting my presentation, I would like to express my gratitude towards my Apollo nursing team and my boss, my mentor, Captain Dr. Usha Banerjee, for guiding us. So let me go through our project, reducing the risk of patient harm due to fall. So our concern in 2019, we have a high number of fall incidences, though majority of the fall incidences is non-fatal. But the high fall incidences rate 3.24 is our concern. So reducing the risk of harm resulting from fall is the international patient safety goal 6 as well. And we are continuously striving towards achieving our safety goals. With our focused analysis and interventions, in the year 2020, we are able to reduce the fall incidences number from 59 to 39, and fall rate is reduced from 3.24 to 2.95. So our fall incidences analysis is based on the following parameters: who had a fall, which patients were affected, which medicines were contributed, when fall happened, where fall happened. So who had a fall? With this analysis, we are able to identify our high risk population. You can see in our analysis, majority of the fall incidences is happened among the age group of 61 to 70 years. The reason: the patients are vulnerable, frail, and they are comorbid. In our subsequent slides, we'll show you our interventions for that. Which patients were affected? We able to, with our analysis, we are able to identify the patients belongs to neurology, oncology, internal medicines, pulmonary medicines, nephrology, orthopedicians. They are the patients who mostly fell down. To understand the reason behind these specialty-wise falls, we noted the medications commonly prescribed to that patients, and we done the analysis in 2019, and we are continuing doing in 2020 and 21 as well. So based on the 2019 analysis, the culprit drug, the high fall risk medicines, were added in the AFRET. That is the Apollo Fall Risk Assessment tool, and we are giving a high score, that is a 20 marks to that Apollo, high fall risk medicines. So for this high-risk populations, we've introduced a safety first programs where we are providing a vulnerable ID ban, safety first stickers on the patient bedsides, and education tool to that patients and the relatives. We are providing an extension boards to cover the gap at the end of the side rails for patients with an altered sensorium, because they are more prone to fall down and they are used to come out by their own, especially in the night time. We are emphasizing on orientation to the environment at the time of admission, and we are documenting the same. We are providing the education tool, that is a flip book with the complete do and don'ts with the pictures for the easy reference. We are providing the training sessions to the nursing staff by the physiotherapy teams on the unsteady gaits of the high-risk populations. With our next analysis, when fall happened, we are able to identify the high-risk situations. So majority of the fall incidences as per our analysis is happened late in the nights or early in the morning. The reason: patient don't call for the assistance. Patient avoid disturbing their attendants sleeping during the night time. So for that preventions, so we introduced the nighttime patient family education. You can see in our nursing care plan, we have documented nursing care, this nighttime patient family educations. So we are educating our patient that there are chances of falling. So you should sit on the bed for a while and you should move your extremities to improve the circulation before getting out of the beds and to avoid the orthostatic hypotensions. We are ensuring the seat belt is fastened, side rails is up, and we when we are transferring a patient from one unit to the another or from one care unit to the another care unit, so patient is mostly transferred from one care unit to another on the electronic bed. So there is no need to transfer the patient from the bed to the stretcher or to the wheelchair. We are using the pad slider for the patient transfer. We are using the electronic roller for taking patient weights. So without the need for patient to stand while being weighed, especially in the ICUs. We are ensuring the safe clinical handoff in the different scenarios, and we are cascading the patient safety instructions to all the staffs. With our next analysis, where fall happened, we are able to identify the high-risk locations. So as per our analysis, majority of the fall in 2019 has happened in the wards. And if you'll see the exact location, most of the fall incidences happened in the washroom and in the patient room. So, and the reason patients don't call for the assistance and the privacy concerns, the patients, they are not allowing the attendant to come inside. So for that, we are encouraging to have a same gender attendant with the patients. Other than that, we are displaying a special instructions in a vulnerable patient zones. So with your safety is our priority, and all the safety instructions written very clearly for the patients. In our high-risk location, that is a washroom, we have an anti-skid floors, we have a grab bars, we have a chairs, we have anti-skid floors. You can see in this picture, and we have an bilingual education tool displayed in the washroom as well. For the patients with the high risk, we have a bilingual patient family education form on fall prevention with a theme. Your safety is our concern. Don't fall, please call. And every day we are doing the patient family education, and we are taking a signature from the patient and the attendant. In the area, in the units where we have the high fall number of fall incidences, we are considering the Apollo Fall Risk Assessment compliance tool implementation as a quality indicator. We replace the manual beds with the new electronic beds in the high-risk situations to prevent the fall incidences. We are engaging all for prevention of fall. We are doing the hands-on training of the healthcare workers, housekeeping staff, nursing staffs for the prevention of fall. We are running a campaign, Speak Up for the Patient Safety. You can see a few pictures. We are describing the analysis. We are sensitizing our staff at the nursing stations. We are doing a brainstorming activities. So in this picture, you can see they have to identify the picture and the risk associated for the fall, and they have to take the resolution according to that. That is for another way of educating our staffs. We are doing a comprehensive management for fall prevention, post-fall. So we are announcing the code white. So unlikely the code blue. So it's noticed that the staff after the fall incidences has to make a various call to the consultant, to the doctors, to the other specialities for the interventions. So if any fall happens, so she has to announce the code white. So all the specialty, the unit doctor, medicine registrar, neurology, orthopedicians, they visit, they are prescribing, they are examining, and they are prescribing the treatment for the patient. We are doing the post-fall huddle after every fall incidents. That's in multidisciplinary team conducts a post-fall huddle to identify the gaps. We are doing the ESCA, that is a emotional support coping towards the anxiety for our second victim, that is the staff for whom the patient was assigned to cope up with the anxiety just after the incidents, after 48 hours, then after 2 weeks of the incidents. In a way forward, we are doing we are strengthening the breeder call round, because majority of the fall incidences happens late in the nights, and with the among the patients who's on the continuous IV fluids or with the diuretics or somewhere. So the charge nurses in this bladder call round is ensuring 2 hourly rounds are taken during the night time to meet the elimination need for the high fall risk patients. This will help to reduce the nighttime fall incidences. Another, we are continuing our campaign, that is Speak Up, please call, don't fall, for the fall prevention, to continue the patient safety and to enhance the staff awareness, and to ensure the compliance to protocol and the patient safety. That involves the patient, and this will going to involve the patient and the attendants for the better cooperation. Practice the philosophy of continuous improvement. Get a little bit better every single day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nishu, and thank you, Indraprasth Apollo Hospital. Now, the third hospital is Kerala Institute of Medical Science, Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. So I will invite Mr. Lijo R., Nursing Quality Executive from Kerala Institute of Medical Science, to present the project.
Good afternoon all. I'm Lijo, representing KIMS Health, Trivandrum. I'm here to present my quality improvement project, that is impact of tracheostomy nurse in reducing tracheostomy-related complications. There is considerable evidence that focused care by a tracheostomy care nurse enhances patient outcome by early detection and identification of tracheostomy-related complications. Considering increased tracheostomy care complications as per the audits of 2017, our management had implemented a tracheostomy care team involving a specialized tracheostomy care nurse in 2018 to enhance the quality of life of tracheostomy patients and to reduce the tracheostomy-related complications. This project aims to identify the mechanisms through which specialized tracheostomy care nurse generates positive outcomes. Once again, title of our project, Impact of Tracheostomy Nurse in Reducing Tracheostomy-Related Complications. Need for the project. As per the audits of 2017, our management had identified the following 3 needs, that is decreased follow-up, cost, and quality of care. The increased incidence of tracheostomy-related complications were identified due to a decrease in a dedicated follow-up. In the cost aspect, increased length of stay and decreased patient turnover was considered. And ours being an NABH accredited institution, we are focusing more on the quality of care provided to our guests. So lack of trained nurse in tracheostomy care and a lack of 24/7 coverage were identified on the quality aspects. The pre-intervention data. As I said, the audit done in 2017 revealed the need of a dedicated tracheostomy nurse. Fortunately, I was selected as the tracheostomy nurse. And before implementing the interventions, I had gone through a series of training and had done an audit in 2018, which derived the data, that is the complications of tracheostomy related patients. Tracheostomy related complications were totally 18.1%. Among them, call for respiratory distress was 3.3%, cuff rupture was 3.4%, and cuff rupture, we calculated both intraoperative and postoperative cuff rupture, and the stomal infections, that is the peristomal infections, was 2%. Quality improvement interventions, tracheostomy related complications were identified, assigned a trained tracheostomy nurse, monitored a reduction in complications, impact of a specialized nurse in process improvement was analyzed, and positive impacts were identified and the practice sustained. Post-intervention data. As the 2018 data indicated in the red zone, the total tracheostomy-related complications was 18.17%, which reduced to the amber zone data in 2019, that is 8.4%. There was a total of about 10% reduction of tracheostomy-related complications in 2018 to 2019. And as a tracheostomy nurse, I am very glad to present the 2020 data in the green zone, that is 3.1%. I'm very glad to announce that in 2018, the reduction was the complications was 18.17%, which reduced to 2020 data, that is 3.1%. Once a practice is being implemented, it is really important for the sustainability of the same. So as a part of locking the improvement, we have taken a specialized tracheostomy care nurse was assigned to provide 24/7 assistance in tracheostomy care, process improvement by focused tracheostomy care, follow-up, training and retraining to prevent attrition-related performance. And finally, decline in tracheostomy complications from 18% to 3%. The positive impacts were identified and the practice sustained. So once a practice is being sustained, it is very important to disseminate the same into various other settings. Cloning the improvement, positive impacts of a focused tracheostomy care and training were identified, and the same concept was extended to our strategic business units across India and GCC. We used to present in various state and national level platforms, and the presentation and the project finding were also presented over there. Comparing the tangible results of 2018 and 2020, the total tracheostomy complications are reduced from 18% to 3%. Among them, the major complications, that is the life-threatening complications like tracheostomy tube blockage, displacement, and accidental decannulation were nil from 2019. That means after the implementation of a dedicated tracheostomy nurse, the life-threatening tracheostomy-related complications were nil. Call for respiratory distress was 3.3%, reduced to 0. Cuff rupture reduced from 3.4% to 0%, and the peristomal infections reduced from 2% in 2018 to 0.5% in 2020. Tracheostomy care awareness among the nurses. Here we had considered the bedside nurses. Before the team, that is in the year 2018, our tracheostomy care awareness among nurses were 53%, which improved to 84% in the year 2020. The intangible results, better quality of life with patient delight. Patient was able to phonate with the tracheostomy speaking valve. We used to train the patient as well as the caretakers how to phonate with the tracheostomy tube using the speaking valve. Decreased length of stay, increased patient turnover and cost effectiveness, increase in referred cases from peripheral hospitals, improvement in the contributory attribute of our bedside nurses, nursing empowerment in management of tracheostomy patients, and finally, job satisfaction of the tracheostomy nurse. We believe in consistency, and consistency is our key. Consistent action produces consistent results. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lejo, and thank you, Kerala Institute of Medical Science. Okay, now we have finished with the presentation of the quality improvement project. So friends, you all should have to wait till the validity session where Dr. Lada Venkatesan, who is the founder EC member Annie, will announce the winner. So thank you very much. Thank you, jury, and thank you, speaker.